Usis Makhadzi is somebody that I love, somebody that I respect, her craft, and we've signed an amazing contract where we're going to make money. She's going to make money, brand ambassadorship. She owns part of, of the brand. And set an expectation that are required as any other partnership that she needs to deliver on. And unfortunately, it got to a point where some of the things are not delivered.
I'm excited, guys, because we've just started a brand new show on Thursdays. It's called House of Sankofa with the great Root Boy Paul Mnisi. Welcome once again, Will, to Johannesburg, DJ SBU, straight out of Jozi, Maboneng. I want to say hello to hustlers and squatters, brothers and sisters from all over the world. The brother that I'm sitting with here, let me just quickly give you an idea as to who he is. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's a mentor, an award-winning serial entrepreneur who's passionate about building brands and the township economy. He's a contributor and a mentor at a startup school and the Township Entrepreneurs Alliance, an organization established to empower township entrepreneurs with knowledge and skills sharing. To date, they have directly impacted over 6,000 entrepreneurs. His latest and very exciting venture includes the launch of a proudly African sportswear brand, Kicks. As you can see it here, I'm loving this new range. This one is called Champion X. He's got other ranges as well. The Kicks story goes far beyond the beautifully designed, colorful, beautiful sneakers and accessories. As of the brand's mission is to bring meaningful change, and his company Kicks aims to provide an enabling environment for entrepreneurs by promoting collaboration and creativity while also creating employment. He's also a public speaker, well sought after, accredited business advisor with Institute of Business Advisors. And before he started Kicks, he had his own beverage brand as well. I think that's the early days of us starting MOFAYA. He also had his own beverage brand, which he's then sold and he moved on. You know how hustlers are, guys. Business people build businesses, sell, acquire others, invest there, sell, move on. Do you know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. Sammy Mhaule, how you doing, bro?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Check this one out. This is the Kick.
So that's Kicks Classic,
This is
right?
the classic, right?
So we wanted to bring in Champion X, but at the same time, we didn't want to overshadow the current range, which is already doing well in the market. It was the timing as to when you needed to drop. And that timing was aligned to our retail rollout. We're opening our first store at Festival Mall on the 1st of December.
Congratulations, 1st of December.
1st of December.
Festival Mall. Okay.
We're in Festival Mall. We're starting with our rollout. And the beautiful thing now is that Champion X, it is available for pre-order. We're starting our deliveries beginning of this month. 4 colors, amazing colors that accommodates everyone. And the story of Champion X is about transition from, being a busy dad or a busy somebody. You can wear it going to work, you can wear it going to gym, you can wear it going on a night out. Hence why it's a Champion X. It literally champions your day.
This is incredible, my brother. Congratulations. I'm looking forward to putting my foot in this one. And for people who are watching, guys, let's show Kicks and Sammy the power of the hustlers and squatters. And I do know we've got chillers here as well. We're all one family. I'm going to put the link in the description. Guys, go and buy it in numbers. You don't even have to order it now. I think once this episode is out, this sneaker will be out. Like, where do they go? Do they go to your, the website, Kicks website, or where do they go?
So they go to our website, which is www.kicksports.co.za to pre-order, as well as they can come through on the 29th of October, where we'll be celebrating Ubabu Vusi Tanda.
Nice.
They will be able to pre-order that as well, and to be able to touch and feel the Champion X as well. And what we're doing as well is that on the day of the launch of our store, they can come in, they'll meet a lot of personalities that have always been waiting for Champion X to come out, to have that sneaker signed for the first time. Yeah.
And that is the 1st of December at Festival Mall, Kempton Park.
1st of December, Festival Mall in Kempton Park.
That's incredible. Congratulations. At least it's Nelingitegi via Tembisa. Drip is from Tembisa.
Yeah.
Ipatu is from Alex. But they're all from Africa, which is beautiful. And I think these guys are inspiring you as well to create something, not just for Ikaslako, but for the whole world, but coming from Ikaslako, you know what I mean? And maybe before I get into your story, I'm also interested in knowing why sell a beverage company to move into sneakers? Why a sportswear gear, sports gear?
I think for me, it has always been clear that having traveled different countries and having lived in the UK was that we don't have a sports brand that is coming from Africa to the world. And I remember sitting, asking myself, why we don't have it, right? And that literally bugged me for quite some time. And I knew that starting a sports brand would require quite heavily investment in terms of capital. And I've said to myself that I started Skyroll as a stepping stone or as a platform that will create wealth. But at the same time, you move that wealth into the next one. And the beautiful thing about me, when I start a company, I know why I'm starting it. So as an entrepreneur, understand that are you starting a franchise model? Are you starting a company that people will come in and invest in? Are you starting a company where you sell it and or invite other people to buy stakes, right? So with Skyroll, I knew from day one that I'm going to sell it. But it has to be aligned to the next big thing that I want to create that will impact, create jobs, and be a platform where we can shine for entrepreneurship.
You've spent a lot of years overseas, but now you're back here at home doing wonders, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
But you come from Ekasi, Tembisa. Tell us about your story. Who is Mhaule?
Wow. I think growing up in Tembisa and being born and bred in Tembisa, it's always a very emotional journey for me. I grew up in Tembisa. I had my first business in Tembisa, selling ice cream on the street of Tembisa. I think that's where I understood what it means to sell. Because when you walk around Tembisa with a cooler box, with a bell, you're relying on somebody to literally, either they will call you and say, "Mfowethu, ngifuna ukuthenga," right? And when that happens, you have to now let the other brain of entrepreneurship kick in, going house to house and saying, "Thanks, ice cream." And that for me was me fending for myself because my father could not literally accommodate all of us as a family. Three siblings, as well as my mom who did not work. The important thing was that for him, he's able to provide food, but the downside to that was that he could not provide things like shoes, clothes. So if you wanted a pair of shoes, you have to wait like 6 months for you to get that opportunity to have, because we all have to take turns, you know? That's where I grew up. I'm the founder and the CEO of Kick Sportswear, and I've done so many things within the entrepreneurship to try and uplift entrepreneurship. But the most important thing is that I am an outward entrepreneur that believes so much in creating platforms for others. You know, everything that links to my business has to do with the next. Hence why even our company is located next to Tembisa, because it goes back to why did I start the company? I want to impact as many as possible. I went to school at Tutogimatla, which
We used
is
to call it TKM.
TKM.
Yeah.
Amazing. At some point, I was Mr. Tembisa.
Yeah. Sashang is Chico. Amayekata so Eskelen cat.
Yeah, so my roots are in Tembisa. I did everything in Tembisa. I went to, then it was called Kempton College. I did engineering motor. My first job was with a company that does vehicles. And then in those days, they used to come to school and scout, students with good grades. So I was very fortunate that I was picked. I worked for that company for like 2 years. But I had this thing in my mind that I'm not happy and in my heart. So I went back to school after I had saved money. I went back to school registering at Midland campus. It's now called Pearson. And I did a course there. At that time, when I'm doing that course, I was not speaking to my dad for literally a year because he could not understand that why would you quit a good paying job that gives you a lease car, right? Now you're going back to school. And I've always said to him, look, the thing about me, there's a driving force and which is purpose, you know. I'm always aligned to my purpose, which helps me to make decisions. And I've always said to people that you need to have clarity and be clear and be consistent. And if you can sell that to even your parent, they would let you be, you know. After finishing my course, that's when he saw the results. And that's when the opportunity to go to the UK came in. And when that opportunity came in, I left. I spent 10 years in the UK, started a couple of businesses. Some of them worked, some of them didn't work. And the last business, which was buying and selling property, went down 2009 when UK recession hit. And I remember sitting, asking myself, what do I do now? I've just lost 9 properties. And the only place that I know better is South Africa. If I go back home, they would not laugh at me. They would embrace me. I will be able to start over again and literally, you know, find myself. That's when I came back home.
Joe, you were already a pound millionaire. So you're owning 9 properties in pounds, bro.
So the beautiful thing about property abroad is that when you buy off plan, right, you already have competition between the banks, right? The other one says, I'll give you 5% for using my package, right? And by the time you get to a developer, the developer also says, I'll give you 5%, right? You now have 10%. By the time that you've spent 6 months, the property is built, you've got now how much? 20%, because now you've got the 5% of the 2 parties that says, you know, we are in competition, we want you to use our services, and the other 10% comes from the value of the properties as the house is being built. By the time you reach 6 months, you've got 20%. You sell the property at 20%. You have now 20,000 pounds. And from that 20,000 pounds, you take that 20,000 pounds to the next property, right? And my biggest mistake was I became greedy. I was scaling so fast that I want as many properties as possible. And some of them put tenants and some of them empty because I had no worries. All that I wanted was, you know, finish 6 months and sell it. You know, the demand is there. Anybody in the UK who's working can afford a property because of their minimum wage, you know. So it's easy to sell a property. And then I came back home after losing all of them.
How difficult was that though?
I think the biggest part for me was I've had to look at my surrounding. One, who are my friends? What would they say? Because most of my friends at the time, they had this perception, you come back home, you understand? You want to see the car is going to drive.
He's been making pounds, this man.
Correct, right? And only to find that I'm coming back home with nothing, with a suitcase. Right? I'm going back home. Coming back home, and I'm now having to explain to my mother that I don't have money, and she doesn't believe me, right? It was a very difficult conversation that I have to have with my mom. And I said to her, look, I still have a home that I bought while I was still in the UK, and I still have a car that I bought while I was still in the UK. And the only way for me to literally get back and start where I am is to sell. I want to come back home. Then I sold the car, then I sold the house. That's how Sky Rule was started.
If you want to know
all of that.
how strong you are, guys, taste success and then lose it and start afresh from the ground. That's when you get to even which happens football no white king.
Which is real.
No, you know, Mudimu Wanganyo. No, but that's what I mean, because that's the name of the game in entrepreneurship. I mean, other people, for instance, a company like Netflix has been in debt for many years.
Yeah.
But they've been still investing because they're investing in the future, right? They knew that this time was coming where everybody, but people like about Donald Trump. Donald Trump was in debt minus $3 billion or $2 billion at some point.
Yeah.
Came back up. And for me, that's what I always say. Entrepreneurs like that, for me, those are the real people who know life. And those are the real people who know how to build from scratch. Yes, other people might be privileged. They might come from good families. They might, get a good education. There's money behind them. They can acquire businesses. They can invest. And it's an easy road for them. That's what we'd like for our kids to be like. So it's easier for them. But people who build from scratch and at least having built up until here and then and then start again from scratch. And Pelawana, you even did it at an amazing level because you did it at a different country with different laws, rules, and regulations,
That's correct. And the thing for me, I believe honestly that, there's nobody that's coming to save me, right? And I need to start where I am and look around, what's around me, what can I use to utilize to start again. And if I believe so much in my dream, why can I not take the last rand and invest in myself? And the biggest thing on that is to understand that if you are a spectator, you will always clap for other people. But the only way for you to start winning things, you need to be in the field. Start participating in the game, right? Now you're scoring goals. Now you understand the value of hard work, right? Within the field. But the longer you sit on the outside of the field, waiting for somebody to help you, it will never happen for you. Hence why great entrepreneurs, they find solutions very quickly. We don't cry over spilled milk for 2 years or 2 days. It hits me over 1 hour, I'm over it. Then I'm moving on. I'm finding solution. My brain works so fast that the problem is here right now. Where's the solution? That's how I focus. That's how I roll. And the moment you dwell so much in your situation, in your problems, that changes everything. And I always make an example with a young person that came in wanting to sell Sky Rule. Then he said to me, I want to sell Sky Rule, but I don't have capital. And I said to him, look, who do you live with? Then he said to me, look, ngihlala no gogo, and gogo, it's only pension, right? Then I said to him, look around you. And he went back and he looked around and he was like, well, I see nothing. I said to him, where does money lies? And then he says, from people. And I said, there you go. What you need to do is offer your services to Abo Mama, Nabo Gogo from where they're from work, right? Help them with their groceries. Don't ask them for money. In return, they will tip you. And that very same young person today, he's gone back to school. He's able to fend for himself. He has bought himself a bakkie. He was able to distribute Sky Rule for himself. He was able to kickstart for himself. And the lesson to that is sometimes we don't need to give a person 2 rands, 10 rands, but train them how to make that 10 rand out of their own situation, because every situation, no matter how dark it is, there's an opportunity. And that was a lesson for me to him, that you need to start where you are. You looking for a solution for somebody to come and help you, it's not happening,
No. And by the way, here it's not on TV or radio. At least we've got time, We can talk for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And now let's get into starting Sky Rule. You needed to be brave to start a beverage company. I guess more than anyone in this country, I know.
The toughest business that I've had too. The toughest business.
Sure.
Listen, when I talk about starting a beverage company to people, and every time one person comes to me and say, how do you? And I always ask them, how thick is your skin? Are you ready to what? Because the reality of it is that we don't come from backgrounds where we've got funds that are sitting there to help us. When I started Sky Rule, I realized in the middle of a production that I need more money. And I remember the manufacturer saying to me, you're not going to get that stock up until you pay, right? I've done my maths, right? and I thought I've got enough money, but I did not literally accommodate the wastage, the 3% wastage of the cans, the juice, and so on. Then all of a sudden now my bill, it's more. And without you even considering the merchandising, how are you going to get the product into the retail space? And that took a lot from me. And I took it up upon myself to say to myself, I'm going to learn this trade and I'm going to work it the best way possible. Till today, the retail giant Pick n Pay, annually they call me to teach people on how to work their own system, right? Because what I found was that they give you terms. We'll pay you after 60 days, we'll pay you after 30 days from invoice, right? And I said, hang on, that is wrong. Who created that system? It's a human being, right? There has to be another way that works for entrepreneurs like me. I need my money in 14 days. I need my money tomorrow when I've delivered, right?
I need my money now.
Yeah, right. And I walked into Pick n Pay and I said, there has to be another way. One, I'm not going to pay you the 25% for each product that you require for you to make your margin. I'm happy to pay you 9%. Let's understand the roles right now. You're flipping the roles because half of the time entrepreneurs, they go to these retailers with the mentality of begging. I want my product on the shelves, but they don't understand the power in them that actually the retailer needs your product more than you need them. So the only way is to make yourself shine. And I said to them, I'll give you 9% of the margin. What do you need to do? Guarantee me that you will pay me in 14 days. And till the day we sold Sky Rule, I was paid every 14 days. And understanding the system of the retailers. And what that does is that you're not literally listening to the noises. No, they're going to pay you after 90 days. They're going to pay you after 60 days. Nothing's impossible. If somebody created an individual, you can walk into a building and change that system. And for me, I'm never shy to say, how do we change to make my business work for better? Our office is where it is right now. The first thing that I asked was, okay, we're building this office, which we're moving next year. But then the question was, what are you doing for entrepreneurs that are coming from a township? How do you meet halfway for us to be able to build a warehouse that will be affordable for us, but at the same time, you are doing something for good for an entrepreneur, right? And that says to me, you are not always accepting the price, but at the same time, you are at least saying you're not going to take the first prize that you're given. You know, you have to push your envelope to the best as you can.
No, mina kubatla ring. Whatever ke platform yalo, guys, and I love it. I love it when entrepreneurs share their stories because sometimes when people see a product sitting here, it looks like not too easy, you know. But it's a lot of work to get into this. And then, okay, what happens is, mina, I'm like, now, okay, Sbuda, this is where the world is going now. You have to participate in this communication space. You've always been in broadcasting, and my focus shifted, and I said, I'm going to the internet. I'm going virtual. I'm going to start e-commerce businesses.
Yeah.
And obviously this podcast is one of them. What made you think sneakers from beverages?
So it was not even an overall one product for us. For me, it was the positioning of understanding that you've got sports brands.
Sportswear.
Yeah, you've got sports brands that are literally selling in our country, which you can count up to 10. All of them, right?
And they're all making money.
And they're all making money. And for me, it was a question of why we don't have a sports brand that is from Africa to the world. By the way, I encourage people that wants to start their own sneakers, sportswear, start it today. The market is big enough. If you look at how big the sky is, all those airlines are able to fly together and still make money.
My man,
right?
Nike is still able to make money. Adidas is able to make money. Puma is able, New Balance, Reebok is able, everybody's making money.
We don't need to start to think, oh, another sneaker or another sports brand. But you need to be able to pace yourself and identify yourself and say, how do I align myself in the market? How do I tell the story of my brand? And for us, we then said we want to create a range that will work and literally transition from somebody who started their job in the morning, right to the gym, going at home. We've got sports bag, which is the backpack. We've got flip flops. We've got socks. We've got the sneakers, and our range is growing. And as we grow, we're creating employment that, which is one thing that I stand for and believe in, being able to be a platform where we can be create employment. And what we do in our company annually, we take 10 young people that are hungry. They don't know what they want to do with their lives. Either they want to create a business or they're not sure. And we're saying to them, come, work for 12 months, learn in sales, learn in marketing, learn all these different skills in finance, right? But at the end of that 12 months, you've got a business that you've registered. You understand where you need to position yourself. Because for me, that if you can use that 1 year gap in a company where you can say, I'm learning as many skills as possible in making sure that by the time I finish that 12 months and I'm positioned to do what I want, it's a gift that I can give to a young person, So we've been doing that for the last 2 years, right? Celebrating our 2 years on the 14th of October as Kicks. And keep it in mind
It's been 2 years now.
It's been 2 years.
Wow, congratulations.
2 years. And
Happy
keep
birthday.
it in mind
Congratulations.
that we should give away something to the hustlers. We should give away sneakers.
That would be dope.
Right?
Oh, that would be dope.
I
Yo,
commit,
that would be dope.
right? Let's do that for the whole month. We give away a pair of sneakers.
Yo, that
right?
would be
Every
nice,
week,
my
right?
man. That would
in
be
doing
nice.
that, right?
Yeah.
It's committed, right? So what we said, instead of taking 10 young people, this year we're gonna take 20 young people that have no idea what they want to do with their lives, right? They don't even know if they want to work. They don't even know if they want to start a business, right? We say, come on board, right? We'll give you clarity. We'll help you to be consistent and be clear in your path. If you have a taste of each department, surely that should literally trigger something by the end of 12 months. And more importantly, we give them a stipend for them to be able to, to have transport money, to be able to live. And this is not in partnership with the government. This is something that we do as a company out of wanting to be a platform for entrepreneurship. That's what we stand for. We want to be a company that can make great sportswear, but at the same time being a platform where entrepreneurship can be created. And how do you do that? You provide opportunities for others, right? As much as possible. And we're not saying that everyone needs to be an entrepreneur. What we're saying is discover yourself, find yourself, whatever way that it is. We're not going to put pressure on people wanting for them to start businesses. But what we're saying is, here's the opportunities that most Black people have never been given. Here it is, use it, come on board, work with us, and use your skills.
And then at some point when you start a business, challenges come. What would you say? 2 years, I'm sure you've already had a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
Some of the things that you're learning. Maybe let me start with this one. That might be an elephant in the room that is out there. I think you've got one of the partnerships that you've done as a business.
Yeah.
And I think that partnership is with an incredible artist by the name of Makhadzi from Limpopo. And by the way, congratulations with that collaboration.
Yeah.
I saw it when you guys were launching it, but then I recently saw you guys having a bit of a dispute. Maybe to clear the air. Those are some of the challenges in business, by the way, guys. What is the actual situation and what's going on there?
I think the biggest thing being an entrepreneur is to not to be hard on yourself. Understand that you will not always make the right choices. You will not always get it right? And Usis Makhadzi, somebody that I love, somebody that I respect, her craft, and I believe that, her brand with Kokoba, the alignment is there, and we've signed an amazing contract where we're going to make money. She's going to make money, brand ambassadorship. She owns part of, of the brand, and set an expectation that are required as any other partnership that is she needs to deliver on. And unfortunately, it got to a point where some of the things are not delivered, and we've done all possible we can to try and mend, and correct the situation. Which even now, I'm still open to have a conversation where we could say, how can we fix? Because at the end of the day, we're humans.
Escort is not nice.
We want to do well in our own different spaces. We don't want to end up to situations where we're in court, where we're fighting. We're supposed to build together. We're supposed to support each other, right? And being being in a situation where you're involving attorneys now and court, it's not a set stone. It's a situation that can be overturned based on nesizilukuthiwa zilungiswa ngomlomo ziphindwe zilungiswe ngomlomo, right? So those opportunities are still there. And as we stand right now, the matter is still pending and it will be going to court. But again, I'm hoping for fair opportunities that this matter can be resolved for both of us. And I pray that it doesn't even get to the court level, that we resolve it and we carry on working and we do what we do best, because the opportunity is greater. I mean, South Africans, they love the range, We want to be able to have a silver lining that will allow all of us to say why we partnered in the beginning, and that partnership foundation maybe can be revived and we carry on with the business. But the biggest silver line is Champion X. Our consumers have spoken and we've said we don't want to forget and focus so much into the legal battles, but we want to deliver what the consumer want, and silver lining is Champion X. It's available and people are enjoying it so far.
A lot of people who've given me advice in the past, and I've heard this advice many times, Sammy.
Yeah.
They say to me, whenever you can or if you can, avoid court.
Yeah.
I remember at some point, Mr. Trevor Manuel wanted to sue our podcast because of something that was said by a guest. And we threw in an apology and I didn't want to participate in court, and I settled it out of court. And to keep it moving, a lot of our audiences were mad at me. No, why didn't you go fight? You must go fight for freedom of speech. It was not your fault. And I understand where you guys are coming from as well. I felt the same, but
yeah,
sometimes you must, but sometimes you must choose what battles to fight, and sometimes no fight at all is better than a fight. And I also consulted even during around that time when we're going through that from some of the people that mentor me as well and some of my business partners, and that was the amicable decision. Don't fight Trevor Manuel. Yes, you might probably be in the right because you didn't do anything wrong and whatever, but just don't be in that mix. Because sometimes even the media might be involved, and sometimes, politics or whatever may happen, but just stay away from that stuff. You're an entrepreneur, you're building a platform, you're even still building MOFAYA, even if abantu bakho bazokuthuka, but just get out of it and keep it moving, keep building. So that's why I also pray and hope that both parties, I think her company is Open Mic.
Yeah.
And shout outs to them. Congratulations, guys. Have done a great job globally.
Amazing stuff.
I really do think that you guys had something there. I think it's an awesome partnership that you guys have. I just hope and pray you guys resolve your issues, because I really do think you guys can make a lot of money together.
Yeah.
Because Makhadzi is the right, my man, you chose the right person. Man. Like, I remember at some point I had a conversation with one of my business partners. Like, Makhadzi stage,
Yeah.
And this is just, I think, when you announce your partnership, I was like, wow,
this is it.
Great minds think alike. Yes, because somebody else would have thought of maybe a younger hip hop star, or those types of guys.
Yeah.
But when you were smart enough to think of a person like her, and that's why I was like, wow, great choice.
Yeah.
And that's why I pray. And if they're watching it Open Mic, guys, fights can be resolved, and I hope you guys resolve it.
And the beautiful thing is our door is open, right? We are open to have a discussion. in resolving this matter in a very fair way that will work for both parties. Because at the end of the day, when two elephants fight, the grass suffers, right? And in this instance, it's our consumers, it's her fans, you know, they get excited about the range, they get excited about when can I get it, right? And the situation can be fixed, you know. It's just a question of sitting down and find what went wrong, how can we fix it, how can we move forward, how can we keep moving. That's our slogan, by the way. Yeah, you know, and correcting those errors if there's an error from our side, you know, or if there's an error on the side, and then we move forward and we say we've learned from that pit hole, and can we do better, you know. It's never nice to see such a thing, especially coming from young black people who are doing really, really well in their own different spheres, you know, because partnership, it's never meant to be broken in a way that there's a scandal, you know. Break it in a way that we've done well. We've created jobs, you know, we've created a foundation, which was part of the plan that we wanted to do. At the end of the day, we wanted to create a foundation that will support, you know, young girls that are linked to a music, you know, and it can still be done. It's never end of the road.
And thank you very much for having that type of an approach. Yeah, I do know the guys from Open Mic as well. They're incredible business people, and I hope that you guys do get to sort it out.
Yeah.
Now, moving right along, at some point you said you started Skyroll with the intention of selling it. So you already knew the end game in mind. You already had it in mind. Where are you taking Kicks?
So Kicks is one of those businesses that I will never sell it. And this is a global company that will be that will offer its services to different countries. I think at this point, we still don't have a company that is breaking ground to wanting to break internationally in terms of the sports. And we've just won an award for a great feel-good sports brand, you know,
congratulations.
in Africa.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
that tells us that there's a gap that is available for a sports brand to shine that is coming from Africa to the world. So Kicks, we're laying a foundation to open offices in the UK. We're already in talks with the US, but the beautiful thing that we want to do is to lay a foundation at home, because it's also important that you conquer first here at home, even though you cannot ignore the demand from externally, you know. But Cakes is one of those companies that it will leave a legacy from one generation to another, and not just my family, but for different people, because Cakes eventually, the idea is to give shares even for the employees that have started with us. And I believe in loyalty. You know, people that have helped build Kicks, eventually they will own part of Kicks, and Kicks will never be sold. It's one of those companies that will always be there. Yes, we'll have partners coming in, buying shares, but Kicks will always be a company that runs till Jesus come back.
Yeah. And I'm so happy, Sammy.
We're
that
not selling
now-
it. We're not selling it.
no,
Yeah,
that's
it's not
beautiful.
available for sale.
It's beautiful that the country is there mentally.
Yeah.
Do you think there is, or maybe I don't know, is it me who's only maybe seeing it on social media or only my circles?
Yeah.
That I think I'm starting to see a lot of younger guys who are, you remember us, Tina, we were told, hambani esikoleni ni graduate, nizoba right.
Yeah.
I think intwana zanonga ziyayibona lento ukuthi hayi man, yes isikele sigrand.
You have to turn left.
Sizoshaya ngayina push ama side hustles qale si. And for me I like that approach ukuthi intwana encane they're starting to become self-dependent as opposed to the mindset ebesibrainwashe ngayo global ukubelievela ekutheni you know, I'm relying on government, or I'm relying on nangiqeda isikolo ngiyoba grand, you know, and also then this educational system doesn't become the right educational system to arm people to become independent.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that's seeing that? I don't want to call it a wave, man, because I don't want it to pass.
That's the two of
I
us.
love what
that
I'm
makes
seeing.
the two of us.
I love, guys, all you young guys out there, we love what you guys are doing. I love what I'm seeing you guys do.
That makes the two of us, because I think the way we were conditioned in the past that education is a single way to make it in life. That's an old way of doing things, which unfortunately leads us to live a 40-year plan where we get to be comfortable, where we get to be married, have jobs, kids, homes, and we have the UIF pension, we die, right? And we forget about leaving legacy. And that legacy for me, it does not necessarily translate into physical funding, but it also translate into the knowledge that we pass it to the next generation. Some people, all that they need to do is to leave a formula for the next generation for them to take it to the next, right? And for me, I honestly believe that if education is not for you, try other things, explore other things. Don't be hard on yourself. I was never a great student at school. I was one of those naughty ones who who try to avoid maths, right? But at the same time, I was never diagnosed in a way as to what is wrong with me, right? Why am I avoiding this? Because at the time, there was just technical school that we would just ride a bus on Friday, right?
Yeah.
You are provided with skills, but you don't understand what's wrong with you, right? But the beautiful thing right now, you can explore your side hustle. You can do whatever, how many jobs that you want to do in discovering yourself. And for me, that is beautiful. That's the way to go. Waiting for somebody to offer you a job, it's not for everyone. Hence why you find people coming in to a job and not last long. And in our company at Kicks, I always discover from the foundation of an interview, what do you want to do in the next 5 years? Are you interested in entrepreneurship? Because I want to identify it as early as possible, knowing that this person, we need to position them into starting their own business. Because for me, when you leave us, it's not a loss, right? It's a link and a chain where we are doing something great. It's a movement that we're building. If you leave our company, you starting your own business, that's another 10 jobs you're creating. We're winning. You know what I mean? So I don't cry over people that are leaving us, but I'm also looking at what have, they gave us. How do we then learn from the knowledge and the skill that they provided us? Then you maintain that good relationship in making sure that you can still have almost like a sister brotherly company. I mean, the market is too big for everyone. And if you can just understand that we have a big cake for all of us to share, and the better way, the better we start working together in collaboration, the sooner we start winning.
In terms of participating in the entire value chain, if there's a government person that's watching right now who probably works at IDC or DTI or NYDA, what would you like to say?
So I have never knocked in those doors before. And I think for one good reason, right? I always believe that I need to start where I am, build on my own, and that's right?
Nice.
If they want to come on board, I'm open for them to support us. I mean, we're going to create a lot of jobs, and that also supports the government. I mean, just for us to celebrate 2 years, right? Not many businesses or entrepreneurs even makes it to 5 years, right? They die, right? And we have previously had a conversation with NYDA where we've said we're doing so much already for young people. Get involved. But unfortunately, the red tape is so long that I have no patience in waiting for that red tape. My train is moving. If you're ready to climb on that train as government, come, let's work together. But the red tape and the back and forth is literally frustrating for entrepreneurs. I just wish that also the systems within our government can be made flexible for entrepreneurs to do business with the government, right? And we are open to do business with them, but we're not prepared to compromise our destination for us to arrive late because of the government. They're still trying to do their nitty-gritty, or they're still debating. Come, but jump on this train that's already moving, and let's affect and create as many jobs as possible. We're good to go.
Yeah, I always say the same thing to people, like, build it, they will come.
That's it, you know. And the mentality of wanting to wait for people to help you, and the amount of red tape within the government, and I believe it's too much, right? Last year, one of the biggest political organization came to us, and they said they wanted us to create a sneaker range for them, right? And we said, cool, we're ready to do that for you guys. And you know, the most important thing is that some of the money will go towards the fund where it will help your organization, you know, grow, right? But now when you receive calls every day now, my leader, ngizwile ukuthi, you know, you're doing this deal, so I want my card. You understand?
That was already happening so early.
Then I'm seeing red flags. I'm like, our target was 100 million. We want to raise 100 million.
Yeah.
And then you have 10 people already that have called you. They've said, my leader, I've heard, but you do understand that for this to succeed, it needs to pass through me. Then I'm saying, hang on, but when we agreed on this with the initial person, there was no negotiations of 10 other people, because now you have to pay all these people. Then now it literally moves your direction, and you now have to focus on individual. Then I had to sit down and say, okay, what do I stand for as a business, right? We stand for ethics. And if we're not going to do it the right way, now we're involved in politics of the monies, it's a problem, you know? And I have a problem in empowering one individual who wants a 10 million and a 5 million for their own stomach, right? And moving away from the goal of impacting hundreds and hundreds of people. And for me, the decision was even easy to say, if we're going to involve the brand Kicks, and already we're starting this way, let's step aside and wait for them to clean their house if they do, which they never did, and we decided to walk away.
I think good decision, without having to ask you what political party that was, because a lot of the times, bro, you've got your own vision. There's something that you're driving here, and you know, you've got integrity that you have to uphold, and also being apolitical helps a brand grow. Sometimes you might never know. I mean, I remember we had an opportunity to align ourselves with a sports team, and some of the discussions that came up in our office was, guys, don't you think other people who support other teams might end up looking at MOFAYA in some sort of way?
Yeah.
We're like, no, but you know, we went back and forth, but the deal ended up not happening. But now it's even worse when it comes to politics, because people are very emotional when it comes to politics. And I've been advised by a lot of people also in the past that you must always try and strive to be apolitical. Always try and strive to be for everyone. Because you want a white person buying MOFAYA, you want an Indian person buying Kicks, you want a DA supporter buying Kicks, you want a Action SA supporter buying Kicks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those type of things to look at. But that's incredible. I mean, those are some of the interesting dynamics that you're sharing with us, and I appreciate that. It's not things that you're probably supposed to be sharing with us. It's inside info, but it's actually great. But it's said, though, that for us to do things, you know, we have to give people kickbacks. It's very disappointing, especially when you're still starting your company.
I think also, you know what it is, right? The biggest challenge that we have, when you are vulnerable as an entrepreneur, when you're starting a company, and the moment you position yourself, which a lot of entrepreneurs, they position themselves as beggars, right? Because you don't have capital, you don't have resource. They find themselves bending backwards for that person that wants to have a 10%, for that person that wants to have a 15%. And then you say to me, yeah, but you know, what is 100% of nothing? Then what is 50% of your ethics gone and you having to sleep with one eye? Do you know what I mean? So you on your journey in wanting to build this business, you have to have comfort and not only that you can sleep in peace and be able to wake up in the morning, not only that the journey continues where you can build a sustainable building a business where entrepreneurship can be grown and you don't have to worry about anybody else. The right sort of a business will come your way. And I believe when you decided to start something already, the doors or the alignment of what God wants to do, it's already done. All that you need to do is to literally work hard. And most people, what they want to do, bafuna ukuyenzelwa, you understand? They don't want to understand. It's like somebody who's going to be prophesied, you're going to be a millionaire. Then they start to scratch themselves in their head, how am I going to be a millionaire? You know what I mean? But instead of thinking of why in the beginning was I prophesied that I'm going to be a millionaire, that's the foundation. And you started that way and you build from that, you know, but then you don't find yourself all over the place where you're trying new things, you're putting yourself under pressure. You need to be able to understand your right to war in the entrepreneurship journey. And the right to war for me is your purpose. If you are a soldier going to war, you don't just sit and literally just land in a foreign land and you say, I'm going to fight my enemy. You understand your enemy, you study your enemy, you look at their background, who they are, what is their weakness, what is their strength, right? Before you even attack. The moment as an entrepreneur, you step on your land and you're about to literally fight, you have covered all those angles and you're ready to shoot. And when you shoot, you are not shaken because you understand your foundation. You understand why you're starting this business. Even when offers comes, you know, you're not taking any offer that comes your way. I don't know how many times I've been offered an opportunity for somebody to buy cakes. You know, some people have offered me 10 million. And the last guy who came in and he says, we've got stores, we can turn this thing around into be a global brand. I said to him, what makes you think I'm in a rush? There's a journey for you, there's a journey for me. And just because your journey is moving faster than mine doesn't mean that I'm not moving. As long as my journey, I I understand my journey.
Sorry,
where
there's
I'm
a liter
going.
of water there. Where is it?
Thank you.
Please bring it to the table.
As long as I understand where I'm going, even if my vehicle is moving slow, it's moving.
Yeah.
You know, it's moving. It's doing something. What is important is that it's moving.
I get you. First 2 years of Kicks versus, or let me say, compared to your first 2 years of Skyroll.
Sure. Wow. Skyroll, probably I went to bed almost every night crying with my pillow wet. Right. I'm selling my house to start Skyroll was the most dumbest thing that I've ever had to do, because you sell this property. I think every time when I pass it, even today, I look at that property, I'm like, I could have made so much money, and it's now valued higher price than what I sold it for. But I honestly believe that, you know, with the little that I got, I can generate more out of that. And that first 2 years, I was everything and everything to everyone. And that was a learning for me to understand the value chain of how to run a business. And when it comes to cakes, it becomes an automatic car now, where I understand the pieces that are moving, right? And I think also Skyroll has allowed me to meet the right people, to be able to be in the position where I am now into running a business that I can literally run it from outside. And I'm very fortunate that I listen when people talk. When people say, you need to get so and so involved in your business, even when I can't pay them, and find a way to make it work, I ask, But probably because of the magnitude of what Kicks is going to be, it's probably going to be one of those businesses that will give me gray hairs. Yeah.
Local entrepreneurs.
Local entrepreneurs, I think in terms of where we are, I'm excited with what entrepreneurship is the wave, how it's moving. And we collaborate with a lot of local entrepreneurs, and our door is open. If you know something that can link to our brand, come on board. Let's see how we can share that brand. Because for me, it's not about me wanting to make money alone or create an empire alone. It's about impacting as many entrepreneurs as possible. Why? Because we're all traveling in this journey. We're finding ourselves. And if it's good enough for somebody to start on the entrepreneurship tip and make that mistake, that's fine. That's also okay for somebody to start a job and discover that they're an entrepreneur. That's fine. The experience that you gain, it's never a waste. It's only a platform that you use and build yourself going forward. And people ask a question of, what do I do after matric? Do I go to university? Do I start a business? Understand your right to war. Understand your alignment to your purpose as to how is that aligned. And then follow your gut and start. And I honestly believe that dreams and hope are not for a selected few. I'm from Tembisa, from nothing, from a forum, and all that I had was a dream. Dreams and hope are for everyone that is willing to work hard, that is willing to put hard work into action, right? Doesn't matter where you're coming from. Entrepreneurship can be activated whether you come from Emadelagufa, where there's nothing, where you live in an informal settlement where you have no hope, right? But what that takes is for you to understand that you can start where you are. As long as you have it in you, you can start,
Shout out to another young property mogul doing very well in the property space, killing it, young millionaire. They are now building a skyscraper. Alex comes right Penekan from Emateluguf.
Amazing.
Lebogang Lebepe from Biz House Properties. So proud of you, my brother. And I like such stories. We can come out of nothing and become somebody's. But then also people turn to compare people, especially Tinabanda Bamnyama. I loved what you said earlier, Wuti. The sky can be so big, but all these holoplanes can fly in it, right? You're probably being now compared to the local current brands that are there. What is your relationship with Likaus, the Theos of this world? We've got a great relationship. They're my brothers. And I want to know, because we're all entrepreneurs and we're all working in this journey and experiencing challenges together. And a lot of the times, we can learn from one another. I don't have to go through the same challenges that you did. But maybe if you open up to me, I can learn from you without having to make the same mistakes,
So these are my brothers, these are my brothers that really, really inspires me, that I look up to, When Batu was started, I had like 6 pairs of Batu, right? I believe in creating something for a black child. And when you're doing great, as a drip, for me, I'm rooting for you, right? I've had a conversation with Likau when he was starting drip, right? And at the time, you know what I mean? And we brothers, there's no point of competing.
Nice.
And there's no point of comparing the brand, right? Because we don't sit all day comparing Nike and Adidas or comparing Puma and the other one, right? We have to look at what are we doing in our fears as well, in our local space. What are we doing in terms of the jobs? What are we doing in terms of changing the circle of poverty, right? That's what is important. And putting brands into one package and you saying, but that one is moving faster than that one. But who said there's a rush, We're doing different things, in our different timing. These are my brothers that I respect. Can pick up a phone call boldly and say, Theo, you're doing well. In fact, when he wins an award, I'm the first to send him in a WhatsApp and say, Bri, you're doing well. I'm proud of you, you know, because when he wins, I'm also winning. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know,
and besides, you're a sportswear.
Yeah.
You're not just sneakers.
Correct.
I think we must get that one right.
Yeah. You that's where the conflict in people's mind happens, where people, they think that because there's so many footwear companies, when you start to bring in a sports brand, you are already in competition. But it's the actual other way around. Our competition is the international brands that are playing in the current space, because we don't have a sports brand that is from Africa to the world that literally brings in the sneakers, the apparels, you know, the accessories. That's where we're playing, you know. And if we can master that art, where tomorrow we are available in Namibia, we're available in Zambia, we've done well, right? And we don't want to be position where we are compared to the local brands that are doing amazing things. We should be asking ourselves, how do we collaborate with these brands and creating further jobs?
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
I like that. I love your thinking. You're a solid businessman. I'm very happy with the journey that we've all embarked on. We're very brave.
I know.
Brave.
I know.
I know this thing is starting to look a bit normal now, what we are doing, all of us.
Yeah.
But I think history will remember us well. Because even if, our levels of success differs in the future, and I'm talking 50 years from now, 100 years from now, it's about the fact that there were young people at a certain time in South Africa that started something that everybody else followed. And what you were saying earlier, Uguti, somebody was saying, yeah, but now everyone is an entrepreneur.
That's good.
That's how it must be. How? I mean, everyone is a doctor, everyone is a teacher, everyone on a degree.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
And when you land in Nigeria, you know, a friend of mine came from Kenya and he was like, where are the people here? I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
He's like, no, like everywhere I go here, I'm not seeing people. I'm like, no, there are people. It's like, no, you must go to Nigeria or go to Kenya. You'll see people everywhere, they're selling.
Yeah.
South Africans are not selling. What's up with you guys?
Yeah.
And then basing is I'm like, yo, and we think it's an inferior thing to do. Or
fact,
even if nomuba telling you umuntu uzokucheck ukuthi angeke mina ngiwashikara, angeke mina ngibe khakati, angeke mina ngithengisa ama-veg estradini, angeke this, angeke that, all the way up to angeke mina ngithengise isiphaza. Basithathile zonke iphaza manje. Tot nesiphaza jo.
Siyakhala nje manje.
Basithathile nephaza jo.
Yeah.
The most simplest business to start. Why? Because ingqondo yethu looks down upon umuntu entrepreneur. Because for me, umuntu entrepreneur, umuntu ogayile ngumgayinyoni. That's entrepreneurship. Is everything else, makes it look complicated, which it is at some point. But the simple thing is just trading. Ungaya is stuff.
Yeah.
Mnandi niga ukrending.
And my biggest dream for our country is to change our mindset as well as our work ethic, right? I went to India many years ago, and I promise you, I went to this market, right? It's so busy that you have this guy who can make you a leather jacket now.
Yeah.
And he will like, sir, how do you want it? The pattern, come back in 30 minutes, it's done, right? And the same guy, he can do the same thing, but what makes them different is these guys is that they understand the art of selling. They understand that work ethics in terms of delivering the customer service. And we still have this thing here, which lunch, I drop everything. Many of our brothers and sisters, they are clock watchers. I hate working with clock watchers because they want to come in exactly at 8. When it's like their time for lunch, they want their lunch. When it's exactly 4 o'clock, off their go, Yeah. And if we can literally change our work ethics and literally start to change our mindset and literally learn from what other countries are doing. I mean, China is already doing the same thing in terms of, they're competing in the same market where, this one is selling lobster, one is selling salmon. The only difference is who's gonna sell it to you better. You know,
Yeah.
same thing, you know. And they understand also that what drives me to sell this salmon better than this guy. I've got 4 kids or I've got 3 kids at home. I'm gonna have a question by my wife to say, what did you bring? You know, at the end of the day. Whereas here, you could ask that same question, how am I building my business as part of your work ethic? You know what I mean? So we still have a chance to turn things around. Young people in our generation, you know, they're doing amazing things. If you go to Maboning, you know, the competition is tight. And I always have this conversation with people where they say, yeah, but SBU is always wearing different brands. I said, why not? Who said you cannot support any brand that you want? These are brands that locally. When he was wearing brands that are internationally, who was saying something about it? Right?
Yo, but
You know what I mean? There was no noise there. But now the focus has shifted into us understanding that rand needs to circulate within South Africa. Let's build our own. And the little that I can do, whether exposing kids, whether exposing Batu, do you understand? It does not necessarily make him rich, but it's helping him to add another head into creating a job, adding another, you know, retail outlet where he's growing his business. Because more and more people, they look at you in the eye that, oh, but he's doing well now. He's got so many stores. All right, you understand? We don't need to support him anymore. But that's where you need to support me. You need to support Batu. That's where the challenges come, because now the business circle literally start from here to there. This is where you need to literally ufaka amandla so that that business is sustained into something that literally is oiled and that can literally last for many years. Hence why many business can be so big tomorrow and they disappear. Then you ask yourself a question, yeah, but they, you know, they were everywhere. What happened to them? You know what I mean? And is that tipping point where how do you sustain from growth point? You know what I mean? You don't want to leave it there. You need to now understand how you're going to sustain it and literally grow it and build this machine. And support from people goes a long way. Yeah.
And starting your own little circles. I love the fact that we're on this generational wealth mission, man. And family, is your family supportive? Or how are you able to then divide your time accordingly?
Hey, that's a very interesting one. Eh?
Because, you know, your family is your pillar
do you
of
know
strength.
what? You know, I always advise entrepreneurs that are young, that inspires to get married, that wants to have kids, that from the beginning, you need to outline who you are, right? Don't announce who you are in the middle of a relationship or in the middle of marriage, right? Set your right to war from the beginning and about who you are. For me, I've said it from the beginning. I was like, I'm not a normal creature. I'm not an elephant, I'm a pig, right? I eat here, you know, sometimes I like to play with mud, I like to do crazy things, right? So if you're expecting somebody who's going to come home every day, 7 o'clock and say, honey, I'm home, that's not me, right? I'll be there to support the kids if they're there, to support you, finding a balance. But how I work, it's abnormal, right? I'm a night rider, and the way my body works as well as the way I work.
Israel.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a street lover.
So
I'm trying to currently.
yeah, ngicabanga peace estrategy. So I'm yeah,
sure.
you know, hence why when it's like 9 o'clock, when it's like 10 o'clock, my body becomes in a different mode where I'm lit up, right?
And you're out there working. It doesn't mean
then
you're
I'm
having
working.
fun. You're
Yeah,
working.
that's when I'm lit up. I want to work. I want to push. I can work till 4 o'clock. I can work till 3 o'clock, right? And recently, I've been challenging myself, asking myself that should I have my day starting at 10 o'clock so that I have enough rest? Because it's also important to balance work as well as resting, right? And how do I balance this as well as going to gym? Because I need to be able to keep myself healthy at the same time. But I'm finding it hard that I'm working outside of the business, and that's becomes a challenge on its own, that I'm out Monday to Friday, where I'm connecting, making this business work externally. And then at night, that's where I need to push this business within inside. And what I do within Cakes, I allocate days where I know that Monday, Tuesday are days where I'm at Cakes. I know that I'm in touch with staff. You know, we know what we're doing. From Wednesday, external meetings. Thursday, those are the meetings that I travel to. Then on Friday, that's when, you know, I can meet at a restaurant. We are connecting relationships. We are oiling, we're rebuilding relationships, we're inspiring ourselves. But that doesn't mean that because we're in a relationship, we're not in business. It simply means that we're connecting in a different level. And as an entrepreneur, you need to understand that you can never be working all the time if you're not separating yourself. I'm in my day of working in Sunday. I start in the morning with prayer on Sunday. I go to gym. Then from there, I'm out in a bookshop where I'm reading a book. From reading a book, I'm back home relaxing. I go to church in the afternoon, 6 o'clock, right? And when I come, that's when I'm back at the office. I'm starting at the office. I'm starting to prepare myself, shifting my mind to start a new week. By the time I start Monday, I'm gone. Monday is already gone for me. I'm looking at Tuesday, you know. So it's so very important as an entrepreneur that understand that you don't string people when you start a business. Course entrepreneurship can be very, very challenging. You know, you find yourself now you can't balance the work life, you know, and you meet somebody who wants to get married. Now they're seeing you, you can't even maintain the hours that's necessary for you to run a family, you know, and you're only now announcing it now that, you know, I'm an entrepreneur, the business needs me. You know, entrepreneur, when they can say the business needs me now.
Abanye
But that's not
bayispanisa-
fair.
abanye bayispanisa ezivisa.
Yeah, but that's not fair. You understand? You needed to announce it from the beginning, who you are. You know, if you have announced that I'm a DJ and therefore some nights I'm not at home, you're good to go. Do you understand? Then she has an idea, or he has an idea as to what type of work ethics that am I looking at? Am I wanting to be dating this person? Do I even want to be, you know, to be involved with this person? But otherwise, they're very supportive. My family is in the UK. They based there in the UK, and it's crazy, I know, but for me, I was never built to do normal stuff, you know, and I do what works for me. And if I can see it and I've heard it from God, I do what works for me. And I'm not one of those guys that will stop a destiny because of a pillow talk or because of affection. My life is beyond affection, beyond holding hands in publicly. As long as we in touch on what we're doing, we're good to go.
And by the way, let me just fix that last part, because kuma podcast ngaring hour abantu banokuklipa nje 7 seconds or
Yeah.
20 seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe just to drive the point of what you're saying when you're saying making an example about being a pig ukuthi udlala lapha nalapha. People must not think ukuthi usho ukuthi wena Joe, these are podcasts, I know. So sometimes when you might think you're saying it in, you know,
In a way, yeah.
abantu
Like
bathathe
I'm not
like
living a pig style. No. I'm using that as a figure of speech.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, I'm not. I don't mean it in that way.
No, we have to clarify.
I mean it in a way that I'm abnormal. You know, the way I do things, and I don't conform into normal. You know, I don't think I would have got into creating the businesses that I've created in living a normal life. And I don't think any entrepreneur can be able to create those businesses that they want if they focus on conditioning themselves to be normal.
A 9 to 5, no.
It will never
Guys,
be.
we work even at 3 in the
No.
morning. We work
No.
on Sundays. We work on holidays. We work like
And that's
every
it,
day,
you know.
2-4-7.
If you can find hours that work for you, but you could never work 8 hours in your business, it requires a lot more for you as an entrepreneur for that business to work.
You have to live it, right?
You have to.
You must live, breathe, eat, speak, shout, crap, cry, dream your business. In closing, before we go, I want you to recommend 3 books for my audience.
Wow, I'm actually enjoying a book by T.D. Jakes, Don't Drop the Mic.
I've heard of it. I haven't read it.
Amazing book. And I think for me, one thing that I'm trying to start to enjoy is to public speak, right? And I've always positioned myself as an entrepreneur that is focusing on what I do. The speaking comes in as somebody who wants to be inspired, somebody who wants to
Share knowledge, right?
Share knowledge, you know. And that book is right there. And I'm rereading that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
I just think that book,
Robert Kiyosaki.
yeah, I just think that book, you can't read it once, and let it go and move, and let it go. And I'm also reading a book by Peter Jones, right? Tycoon, right? He's a dragon from the UK, and he started his business from the back of his car. And for me, the way he has started to be an entrepreneur that he's able to invest in other business right now. He's the guy who believed into Leon Roots, who started the Raga Raga Socks. Yeah, he was one of the entrepreneurs. And that book for me, it changes everything in terms of feeling sorry for myself sometimes, because we do, right? We're like, yeah, but why do I have to go through this? But then you read books like that, then you're like, why not you? You know,
If
then
not
who?
me, then who?
Then who? You know? And those are books that I'm currently reading. But Don't Drop the Mic by T.D. Jakes.
I'm so proud of you, Sammy.